Hello, I'm Arvid Pederson. In our last presentation, we reviewed the principal physical events that have occurred during the 200 years of our industrial history. The early stages in the use of extraneous energy were mentioned, and it was pointed out that the scarcity values of the price system were a natural result of hand tool production and human toil. The Industrial Revolution that began in England and then spread to Europe eventually crossed the Atlantic, where in America, technological advancement soon surpassed all of that in Europe. We also reviewed the problems and the paradoxes that exist today due to the conflict between the rapid advancement of technology and the immense growth of energy-consuming mechanisms on the one hand, and the long-established customs and folkways on the other hand. And it is the resolution of this conflict that must take top priority if we are to continue as a high-energy civilization in North America. Today, however, all these conditions are changed. Let me explain. In 1830, the population of the United States was about 12 million, and we consumed 75 trillion BTUs of extraneous energy in that one year. Today, the population is approximately 225 million, and we are using over 86 quadrillion BTUs of extraneous energy each year. In other words, during the past 150 years, our population has grown about 20 times, but the use of extraneous energy has increased 1,150 times. This is an entirely new order of magnitude. Science as a system of investigation is only about 400 years old, and technology as a means of applying scientific knowledge to performing practical tasks is probably half that old. Science and technology, with the concomitant widespread use of extraneous energy, has changed our way of life more in the past 80 years than in the previous 70 centuries. Today, almost the entire population is dependent on the uninterrupted operation of our technological mechanisms. About 3/4 of the population live in urban centers and 1/4 in rural areas. However, 100% of our population is dependent upon the continuous flow of goods and services. Even the farmer depends for gas, electricity, telephone service, clothing, and most of his food from sources outside of his own place. Human beings have learned how to design, build, and operate energy-converting devices of such magnitude that the whole planet Earth is in danger of total destruction unless a functional form of operation is adopted soon. Now, the complex of circumstances that have just been summarized forms the basis of our current economic and social problems. And ironically, it contains the essence for the solution. Technocracy's design is a scientific approach to human affairs. It is based on the proposition that all phenomena involved in the functional operation of a social mechanism are measurable. The common denominator for all activities is energy conversion. Everything that we produce, transport, and consume requires energy degradation in some way. Nothing in this physical world occurs without the consumption or the conversion of energy. And energy, of course, is measurable. Technocracy's design for social operations will balance production with consumption by means of energy measurements. The price system, with all of its inefficiency, its waste, and its destruction, must be abandoned if we are going to survive. And then, in place of the price system, we must establish a continental energy accounting system. And that system has to do two things. It has to produce and it has to distribute. Now, what does it produce? It must provide for the production of the optimum quality goods and services at the most efficient energy cost. What does that mean? That we buy at the minimum input of materials and energy. Now, the second requirement of this continental energy accounting system is to distribute the maximum amount of goods and services equally to every North American. Now, with the elimination of the price system, and in the absence of debt tokens or money, how would an individual make a purchase? How will a person acquire the things that he needs? Well, an integral part of this energy accounting system is the energy certificate, or the distribution certificate. Now, this is a piece of paper, and it's printed up in little booklet forms issued to every adult man and woman. Everyone gets an equal share of the total. Now, you might think that the energy certificate is merely the substitution of one kind of money for another, but that's not so. Money is a debt token. It is a promise to pay a debt. The energy certificate is part of a measuring system. There's a vast difference between the two. Money is a medium of exchange, and it has value. The energy certificate is a medium of distribution, and it is used for measuring, and there's quite a difference. Let's consider how they differ. The certificate is issued for a specific time period, and then it is canceled. Not so with money. The certificate is issued to a specific person, and only that person can use it. Money, by the way, or otherwise, is negotiable by anyone. The certificate identifies this person or the holder. It tells who you are, where you are, and what you are. Money doesn't do that. The certificate also records when you made your last purchase, where you made it, and it even describes the item that you bought. Money doesn't do any of those things. Now, the certificate also is part of a 24-hour inventory control. Money isn't. The certificate helps to maintain a supply of stock on hand at all times, and it's an integral part of the system for planning production schedules. Further, it is a guarantee of security because it is issued to every person, male and female alike. Not so with money. The certificate is issued to everybody as a right of citizenship, and no one can deny you that right. Slow. Technocracy's overall design is predicated on the balanced load. Now, this requires a slight modification to the calendar, and we suggest a functional kind of calendar wherein the days of the year are numbered consecutively, 1 through 365. This chart shows a portion of such a functional calendar, and it runs from the 81st through the 94th day. You'll note that there are 7 groups listed over here on the left. And the 7 groups represent the functioning or the working population. That is, they are both men and women between the ages of 25 and 45. And these groups work on a staggered work schedule. For example, Group 1 functions or works 4 days. They're off 3, on 4, off 3, on 4, off 3, and so forth for 41 periods. Now, this totals 165 working days for the year, leaving an annual vacation of 78 consecutive days. This service, of course, would be required of everyone, male and female alike, for 20 years of their lives. And at age 45, it would be possible to retire with absolutely no reduction in purchasing power or any other rights of citizenship. Now, the working shifts probably would run about 4 hours a day. Therefore, by staggering the hours in the day and the days of the week, each individual would put in about 16 hours per week. However, all of our facilities would run 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. That means that we could greatly reduce the number of facilities, factories, plants, and so forth, at a tremendous savings in energy and in materials. And this balanced load would put a balanced load on all of our production facilities, all transportation and communication systems, all recreational facilities, and so forth. The rush hours, morning and night, would no longer occur. The jammed highways on weekends and the crowded recreational areas that stand empty so much of the time in the price system would simply become something of the past. Now, the balanced load would mean a far less hectic schedule for most people, instead of the rat race that we live in the price system. In leisure time, of course, there would be many activities that would allow for greater self-expression. For many people, it might be the very first time in their lives that they actually have time for living.